today we are deep diving into the remarkable story of JJ van der Mescht, the towering South African lock who's redefining what it means to be a modern-day forward, from his days as a multi-sport prodigy in Durban to viral tries on the world stage.
One thing I definitely learned is just to believe in yourself and in your family, to back yourself and don't worry what other people have to say. Where you focus on yourself, your game does improve. If you do, just believe in yourself. I just wanted to prove a point as a bigger guy. My weight was a problem. I just wanted to prove a point that a big guy like me can move. I can play. Backing from my family and my beautiful wife, supporting me in the kitchen, helping me to eat better. Just worry about yourself and worry about what we think about you. And I think that my mom pushed that a lot, and I think that's where I definitely got it from. She always said I was going to be a rugby player. So she had to believe it first. So he was always the one that pushed me a lot. Next to the field, shouting so loud, got me embarrassed a lot. Don't worry about too much about an agent, worry about your game. The contracts will come. The unions will look at you if you play well. It's not because of an agent that you're getting a contract. You're getting a contract because of yourself. It's your dream to play for the Springboks. I've always wanted to play for the Springboks. Even when I represented under 20s, one of probably the proudest moments of my life, singing that national anthem. It's just something about it, and putting on that jersey is just, it's unbelievable.
Hi everybody, and welcome to another episode on the Lessons from the Game podcast. And today we are deep diving into the remarkable story of JJ van der Mescht, the towering South African lock who's redefining what it means to be a modern day forward, from his days as a multi-sport prodigy in Durban to viral tries on the world stage and a headline grabbing move to Northampton Saints. JJ's journey is equal parts power and personality. Stick around as we explore the man behind the monster, unpack his ambitions, and find out why he's one of rugby's most intriguing figures. JJ, how you do? Welcome to our show.
Thank you very much. Happy to be here. Excited.
Looking forward to it. Ben, good to see you, my man, and happy birthday.
Cheers, G.
35.
Yeah, exactly.
35, I think.
Yeah, that's the one, yeah.
He's 25, it's okay.
Cheers, JJ. Yeah.
Awesome. Great stuff. JJ, how's things going? How's this thing settling in? Pre-season almost done, I imagine?
Yeah, that's going great. Came a bit late for the preseason. Had to sort some things out before the move. All the packing, moving from Paris all the way to Northampton. I can't believe I accumulated so many stuff in Paris over the 4 years. So a lot of packing, had to come over early. My wife sorted everything out. Finally moved into my place. So slowly but surely everything's getting settled in. Preseason's going well. Enjoying it a lot. And yeah, starting a warm-up game. So it's going well.
Amazing.
Okay, awesome stuff. I can definitely relate because I've just finished my move from La Rochelle now back to Toulouse, and I had a full furnished apartment and I was on my own, and the amount of junk that I gathered in this last 4 years is ridiculous. I thought I could just do it with one car drive. I didn't want to rent a truck. I had to do 3 up and down trips to make sure I get everything back. So I can definitely relate. I'm actually at this moment right now, I'm about to clean up my flat before I head back to Toulouse. But Ben, brother, just wanted to check in with you. An exciting week for you. All good your
Busy
side?
week. We got a few birthdays in the family. I was coaching last night at one of the local clubs. And as you said, yeah, the funny thing, being in my birthday today, I remember exactly where I was like 30 years ago today, which makes me feel very old. But 30 years ago today, I was playing rugby in New Zealand, and so I went over there and I was working in the forestry. The game hadn't turned pro. The game turned pro when I was there. So I'd gone straight from school and thrown into men's senior rugby. I didn't play age grade rugby, just straight in. So it was full on. But yeah, so it's funny. You blink and 30 years goes by very quickly. But it took me back, and it was actually some good memories as well. Incredible memories, good friends, connected with a couple of old mates from that time today. So yeah, it's been a good week.
Super. That's great. I can imagine. So, hope you have an awesome dinner tonight with the family.
Nice, brother.
All right, JJ, let's get stuck into this. You are still young. You're still, I think you're only 26 right now at the moment.
Yeah, 26.
Jeez, you make me feel old, man. Make you feel old. All right. But JJ, we always start this podcast asking our guests, what is the one lesson from the game that they have learned that they can share with our audience who are young rugby players? You're still a young rugby player and aspiring coach. And so you've had the opportunity to play in France and now you've moved to Northampton. You've played at the Sharks. But is there one lesson that stands out that you can share with the audience?
One thing I definitely learned is just to believe in yourself and in your family, to back yourself and don't worry what other people have to say. It's really important as a player for your mental health, just to stay and focus on yourself. And if you do that, it does help a lot. Where you focus on yourself, your game does improve. If you do, just believe in yourself, even though a lot of people don't. A lot of naysayers, but yeah, I would just say believe.
Okay, great stuff. We want to back your journey, how you arrived in France and then going to the Saints. But you just mentioned there, you're coming off preseason, and I know preseason can be tough. For some, it's a nightmare. There were times I hated it, loved it. I've got some crazy stories of preseason training 4 to 5 times a day. But maybe you can just give insights to our audience, what do you guys experience during that preseason? What's the whole goal of the preseason? Is it just to get the bigger boys fit? Is it just maybe to run around, keep the guys busy before the season starts, or to make sure they at least earn their money or those decent salaries? But what is the goal of preseason and what do you guys go through?
I think the goal is definitely just to get your fitness up after a good 4-week break. Just a lot of people relax during that 4 weeks just to get back in the preparation, get your body ready for that big contacts, the scrums, the mauls. And a lot of new players join a lot of clubs. So just to get those guys rolling, getting the game plan, getting your goals for the year, getting everything sorted out, especially someone like me, a lot of new players learning how to play, what to do, line-outs, scrums, backline plays. So it's just getting you ready for the long season. And I think without it, you would struggle. It just gives you that final steps just to make sure everything's in line before you go out and play.
Okay, so great.
JJ, has it been a bit different for you in so far compared to France?
I would say easier. The language does make a difference. Yeah. I would say that. And the coaching has been really good. They take a more backward steps, so they make sure you know everything. And I would say the boys drive a lot of the things. So a lot of the guys try to help you, get you up to speed. So that's wonderful. It was difficult in France. Obviously, there's a language barrier when I first got there. I think that's probably the biggest difference. But yeah.
Any South African boys there?
There was Toki Augustus. He left, which is a bit sad. But I'm the only South African player now. One of my mates, Cleopas, he plays for Zimbabwe. At least I know him well. We were under 21 when at the Sharks, so it's good to see a familiar face. So that's great. And Coach Yaku, he was my first Super Happy and senior coach, forwards coach. So it's great to have him here. Know him well. He knows me.
That's brilliant.
Today's Lessons from the Game episode was possible thanks to the support of Harris Begley Financial Planning, headed up by former Blackheath player Matt Begley. They are the experts to speak to for tailored advice on investments, mortgages, insurance, and pensions, helping you plan for a future of financial security. So when you think money, think Harris Begley and head to www.harrisbegley.co.uk. Approver Quilter Financial Services Limited and Quilter Mortgage Planning Limited, March 2025.
Yeah, JJ, I mean, it seems like you've had this meteoric rise, and that's probably not fair because people don't see all the, people talk about someone becoming an overnight success, but they don't see all the hard work. And, we saw tries suddenly going viral online of you scoring in World Cups and things like that, Junior World Cups. Can you talk us about through that? What was that like? Did suddenly you were on the radar? What happened there?
I just feel like I just wanted to prove a point as a bigger guy, um, just showing what I can do as a player. Because people said I was overweight. My weight was a problem. I just wanted to prove a point that a big guy like me can move, I can play, just to prove them wrong. Because I didn't make my first year as a junior bok. I just wanted to show them what they're missing out on and what I can do as a big guy, and just to prove the naysayers wrong again, and just believe in myself. And just when the opportunity came, when I saw that try line, nothing was going to stop me when I scored that try.
Yeah, so just to come on the back of it, JJ, which is very important, I think, and being also a player that was constantly under the pump from the S&C when it comes to weight and stuff like that. I had weight that went up, weight that went down. 2 years ago, all right, in the top 14, you were slightly overweight. I've been there. I played top 14. There were times I was overweight 7 to 8 kgs. But then last season, you were in great shape. It was like complete transformation. So if you can just take us behind the scenes, what was the reason for that? What was the big mindset shift behind that? Because I think it can be really inspirational for younger players, especially props, that do struggle with weight and all those type of things. People looking at what they're eating at breakfast, at lunch. I've been there. So it can definitely be beneficial to our audience that do want to lose weight, and maybe if you can share the mindset shift behind that.
Yeah, I just decided that someone doesn't have the power to hold that weight thing and throw it around the whole time. And once again, just backing from my family and my beautiful wife, supporting me in the kitchen, helping me to eat better, and me just training on myself and getting better to show that you can lose weight, and just to show the people it's not a choice that I wanted to be that heavy. It is something I struggled with and just worked through. And I feel like the closest people behind me helped me a lot. And just once again, just believing in myself that I can do it and don't listen to what other people are going to say. And I just worked hard on myself, and I just wanted to have a great season, and I didn't want to struggle on the field because that extra weight does limit you a bit. So I just wanted to get the weight down so I can do more on the field and run around. And I think just wanting something gave me that extra motivation to do something.
Hey, JJ, it's. I mean, there's so many things I'd love to understand, but it's really clear straight away. We've just met, but it's really clear that you were very intrinsically motivated. You got this determination. You got like this steely determination that comes through immediately, and this self-belief as well. And then let's face it, we all get knocked every day from different people, and we choose who we listen to and who we don't listen to. And some of us, we can be pulled into that, but where does that steely determination come from? Is it something that was in your upbringing? Was it from a childhood? Was it from your parents? Where does that come from originally?
I would definitely say it's from my parents. Both my parents were in the police.
Okay.
I think just the structure at home and just pushing myself. Don't worry what other people say. Definitely got that a lot from my mom. Just don't care if you're bigger than other kids or they say other things. Just worry about yourself and worry about what we think about you. And I think that my mom pushed that a lot, and I think that's where I definitely got it from. So I think that's my biggest motivation from that is definitely my mom. And she knew me from a young age. She always said I was going to be a rugby player. So she had to believe it first. So she was always the one that pushed me a lot. Next to the field, shouting so loud, got me embarrassed a lot when I was in primary school. So always there. And she's also a big lady, so very scary. But yeah, definitely my mom gave me the belief and that just to go on forward. Yeah.
Okay. And was that up in Pretoria initially?
That's in Pretoria. I was born in Pretoria. I grew up in Silverton, next to Mama Lodi. So I grew up there. So it was a great place to live with my grandparents. So that was also great, very hardworking people, and also just helped me through everything and supported me a lot. And every sport, cricket, athletics, rugby, water polo, everything, they were just there behind me, telling me what to do and just believe in myself. Yeah.
And JJ, tell me, I think at some stage you went on to Glenwood. What age was that? And what was the reason for making that move?
So I never made the Blue Bulls under 13 Crayon Week. I was in a small primary school. And somehow I played Club Blue Bulls and I played against the SRU, the Sharks team. And I think the Glenwood principal saw me play there when I was 13. And I didn't expect to get a bursary from any school, to be honest. I just enjoyed my rugby and I just wanted to play rugby. I didn't think of going to such a big school. My parents definitely didn't have the money to send me to a good school, so I was going to go to Oosmoed. And then Glenwood came around and we went to visit them and they were so keen on getting me to the school and helping me. And so I got a bursary at Glenwood. So I went there when I was 14, grade 8, and I was in the boarding house for most of my schooling, yeah.
So, JJ, if you can just maybe give insights to our audience, so the South African boarding schools are kind of different. And we do see now, especially on social media, that brotherhood and that unison at school hostel. What was your experience going to boarding school or hostel, it looked like to say, in South Africa?
No, I loved it. It definitely helped me a lot to grow up quicker. Own responsibility, doing your laundry, making sure you keep your room clean, waking up early, getting into a routine. I think that definitely helped later on as a professional rugby player and living on your own for the first time and doing the important things and making close friends, very close friends. Like my senior players and senior prefects were Jaco Kutsia, James Fenter. So those two definitely gave me a lot of trouble because I was a big boy. But definitely I enjoyed boarding house a lot, and you make close friends forever, and it teaches you a lot of values, and you really do get close. And the things you do in the boarding house, you just have each other, and it's really enjoyable.
It's really good, JJ. I'd love to understand. You played a lot of sports growing up. You have this multi-sport, and G and I often talk about not specialising too early. Was it always rugby for you? I know like your frame and your size lends itself to becoming a rugby player, and your mum spoke to you about becoming a rugby player. But was that always your first love? You're passionate, because I know you like did a lot of athletics and stuff like that.
No, I think I enjoyed all the sports. I didn't. As soon as I moved to Glen, my main focus, I wanted to be a rugby player, but I knew I was a bit too young and I wanted to do all the other sports. I played basketball, I played water polo, athletics, I played some cricket. But I think definitely athletics caught my eye. I was very good at shot put and discus and 100 meters for some reason when I was younger. I was quite fast when I was younger, so I did enjoy that. Was in the relay team. So I was very proud of that as a big guy. So I really loved that. And then I enjoyed water polo a lot. Definitely helped my rugby with my legs and stuff. Fun, really, really fun sport to play. If you're not fit, you're definitely going to drown a bit. So we definitely have to work hard on that. And basketball, just the high end. I just loved anything with a ball, actually. I enjoyed basketball a lot. Definitely with my skills improved. I think water polo, basketball definitely helped me with my skills. My ball skills. Yeah. So playing different sports does help you a lot in different aspects in rugby. So I think that helped. When I got to 17, that's when I really doubled down on like seriously, like rugby is going to be my career and this is something I want to do. And that's when the rest of the sport actually took a back step. I still did it at school. I just didn't focus as hard as in rugby. So I think being a multi-sport athlete is good if you want to focus on one. It gives you that small extra skills that you would never have learned if you didn't do it. So I think it did help me a lot. Yeah.
So tell me with the athletics, because it intrigues me, shot put and discus, because I used to love my athletics at school back in the day in Paul Boys High. And, I used to love it, except once I went to South African Championships and was with hammer throw, actually. where I almost killed someone. So that's when it stopped because I threw it over the net. It hopped onto the actual track, and somebody was warming up, and it bounced in front of it and went over. But is there any highlights from the other sports, athletics, and what you just mentioned, the water polo, basketball? Any highlights? Obviously rugby, there's loads of them. But is there any one moment that stood out that you feel that really made you feel good about yourself?
I would say going to representing my province in shot put and discus, going to the championships, water polo, coming close to making provincial team, even though it wasn't a sport I really I was good at it, but I never knew I was that good, I would say. And then with athletics, running the relay and beating kids that are much more quicker than me, and all the parents and people coming across, I didn't know someone like you can move that quick. I feel like that really, and with the high jump as well. One time in Pretoria, our school went to compete, and I did the high jump and I won, and they didn't believe a big boy like me could get up so high. So that was definitely a good feeling, I feel, in athletics. Just proving people wrong, I think.
So JJ, I think it's great. I think you are very privileged in the sense that you have all these athletic abilities, and I do believe. Do you feel the combination? Obviously, there's the team side of rugby, but that individual discipline, because athletics can be lonely. It's you versus you and no one else. You're only competing against your competitors. You don't have teammates. You make a mistake, that's on you. You get your technique wrong. Is there something that in that time, working or training athletics that helped you, that transferred to your rugby skills?
Definitely working alone, doing the things no one see, just to improve your craft. I feel like that brings across to rugby the small things you need to work on as a player to make the team better. I feel like that brings it over to you, just working and getting better on by yourself to help the team. And just the small things, like if you struggle your left pass, just working on your own, just doing some passes or catching the ball, high ball, you struggle with that, to working on the breakdown. It's something small that you can work on as a player, and just knowing that you can work alone and buckle down under that pressure to get better. I feel like athletics teaches you alone. You just work on your own technique and focus on yourself. If you do make mistakes, it's on you. But you can fix it by doing the repetitions. Same if you bring it over to rugby, just working on, like if you're a winger, working on the high ball catches, or me working on the mauls, how I'm going to destroy a maul. Just a small thing, watching clips and watching when I did shot put, I used to take videos and just watch my technique. Same in rugby, you just watch what you do in the game and then you fix it by yourself, yeah.
I love it. Becoming a student of the game. It's very important. Jojo, I just want to follow up because a lot of rugby players, when they about to finish school and they get overwhelmed with agents' contact. We're seeing now in South Africa, a lot of players are being contacted. They're signing at La Rochelle. They're signing at different clubs in France. They're leaving the country quite early. What was that period like for you, coming towards the end of your school career? Where was it clear the pathway for you going forward? We all know that you went to the Sharks and then eventually ended up Stade Français. But was it clear in your mind? If you can maybe just take us to that period, how did that go about? You eventually ending up at the Sharks and then transitioning after that to Stade Français. If you can maybe give us some insight into that can help younger players that are now 17, 18, 19, so it can be clear for them how to approach that period in their career.
Yeah, first of all, playing Grand Como under 16, that's when agents really flock up as a youngster, which is, I know some agents can be a good thing for a young player, giving them insight, and talking to that, but there's also agents that want to sign you to get you on the books, which is for the wrong reasons. My dad was very strict on not signing with anyone or talking to anyone, me playing my game, because you see other kids in your team getting boots. Oh, my agent got me these boots, but it's like a false sense of hope, like that almost makes your ego get bit bigger, and which I would provide for youngsters. Don't worry about too much about an agent. Worry about your game. the contracts will come. The unions will look at you if you play well. It's not because of an agent that you're getting a contract. You're getting a contract because of yourself. Agent can help in that, negotiating the small things you don't understand or your family doesn't understand. I did make a mistake, and that's why I'm talking about it. Like my Verge agency, I thought they were great people. They did help me get in contract with the Sharks, but like they signed me, but didn't get the best deal, or they was like, oh, you have to go to the Sharks. They didn't even say like the Bulls came with an offer or something like that, because they were clearly just in Durban and wanting you to go to a certain place. So as a youngster, you must make sure that a rugby comes first, and don't worry about, and yourself and your family, don't worry too much about an agent. Play your game. The unions will come. They will contact your family if you don't have an agent, so you don't have to worry. You don't need an agent for the unions to get in contact with you. It does help if you don't want to negotiate all those things, but don't worry too much about an agent. Yeah.
Seriously, wise words, AG.
Massive, man.
We've been talking a bit, JJ, quite a bit about this. We had Damien Dussault on recently, and an agent in France, G's agent actually, and Damien, it's very similar. We talked about how G and I get approached a lot by players who they're hungry. They're in some cases desperate almost, but you might get a highlight reel or something like that, but they don't really necessarily follow the path or the wisdom that you just outlined, and just like perfecting their craft and striving to get better. It's almost like they want a magic magic pill, and getting an agent that will solve that. And so it's nice to hear, and refreshing actually to hear your version of how you did things. You ended up then at the Sharks. Was that plain sailing for you after school?
Yeah, I always wanted to go to the Sharks. Once I got through the system, I played Grand Coma, I played Graham Week, I played SS Schools, and I just enjoyed the way the Sharks played. And they invited me and Pepsi Buthelezi when we were 18. While we were writing our final exams, we were busy training with the Super Rugby team.
Nice.
And just that confidence they gave into me and Peps, just showing that interest as a player, all the hard work you did to get to that stage, and they putting you with the senior side, like as a youngster training with someone like the Beast, Kuniwa Stazen, just Lawazi and Vovo, those guys you watched when you were young, the Priya brothers when you were at school, when you they just destroying people, to get to train with them, and then later on the next year play with them was amazing. And I really enjoyed my time, and the players that were there helping me a lot to grow up very quickly. First preseason, getting to put into a cage with Beast and the Priya brothers as 18 years old, and oh, you need to throw each other out of the ring. The last one standing wins. As an 18-year-old, I'm a big boy. I was like, okay, I can try it, but you can feel what real man strength is when you're 18. That's when you start waking up. You're like, oh yeah, this is the big leagues. Now you need to wake up.
Good.
So that was a fun preseason, and experience a proper preseason where you run to get fit, and to make sure all the levels, the coaching, getting the information, make sure you write everything down, the lineouts. It's not as like at school or you play Graham Week. There's a lot of people miss that at school, that you don't understand the stuff you need to know, like focusing in class. It's the same thing in rugby. As a professional rugby player, you need to know your goals. You need to write things down. You need to make sure you know everything, because I promise you, if you get it wrong, you're gonna feel it. The team is gonna see it, and they're gonna know you're not focusing on the things you need to do. So it's really important to write things down. Make sure you learn. It's really important. I've learned that in France, especially if you don't know the language, just to know exactly what's going on. Because it's important. If you want to play, you need to know what your role. So yeah.
That's good, JJ. Like, when you look back, you came to France at quite a young age, and so when you reflect on your time in South Africa, what are the highlights for you?
I would definitely say being part of the Currie Cup team 2018 when they won it.
Yeah.
Being part of that squad, playing again in the semi-finals against the Griquas was a massive. My first Currie Cup game was amazing, and that year making my first Super Happy debut, playing against the Lions and the Jaguares. Unlucky I couldn't play more Super Rugby games because of they stopped the Super Rugby a couple of years after that, so that was a bit tough. And being in a Currie Cup final, I would say, with the boys and doing very well, and just at the last end losing it, and playing against the British Isles Lions. That was a great experience as well with the Sharks.
Huge.
Yeah, I feel like that's the highlights. Yeah.
JJ, tell me before, because I want to get into, like what is the big reason why you moved to Stade Français? That really intrigues me. Each youngster's different when they make that choice. But firstly, I want to ask you this: were there any guys that you looked up to when you were playing? You mentioned you played with you trained and played with guys like Meest and Luazi. I used to call him Vovo Sugar. We used to make this joke: "Is Lovo Sugar?" He was Vovo Sugar. Great man. I used to love him. Unbelievable guy. Was there anyone that you looked up to? Who was your hero when you were coming up through the ranks? I think maybe in your position, was there anyone or any rugby player in general who said, like, all right, this guy I respect, this guy is unbelievable?
While I was playing, I feel like my main role was when you were playing, Bakkies Botha, Victor, Donnie Rousseau. Those were my big heroes and what I want to do. Remember being a young kid at Loftus, watching you guys play, and I knew that's what I wanted to do, and that was a massive push. And the way you guys played as big guys, and someone like me, I feel like that's where my inspiration came to. Look at these big guys. You don't have to be this kind of shape. You just need to be a hard man and have the talent to do it. I feel like that you guys were my heroes. That Bulls team was just phenomenal, and I was a massive Bull supporter when I was younger there, and that team was just my big inspiration, and in my whole family, I feel.
That's
awesome. Man, thanks for that. Well, Bakkies is a legend, and Victor as well. And I'll tell you this: when I see you run, sometimes it reminds me of Bakkies. He used to have the saying, "The only pain that I know is the pain that I inflict." So when I see you running, I see you destroying guys. But JJ, coming to this, it's a big decision. You with the Sharks, you're training with these unbelievable players. You got Beast, you got the Dupree brothers there as well. What was the big attraction going? We will all know that, okay, in France, they offer great money for South African youngsters, all right? So what was the main driver for you going over? What did you want to experience something different? Did you want to get out of your comfort zone? Was it the money?
It was definitely a thing with me at the Sharks where they kept I didn't play because they said I wasn't in shape. My weight was a problem, and I feel like that's when I really started struggling mentally, where I was in the gym at 6 on a watt bike and then in the sauna trying to lose weight. Got down to like 125 and it was still not good enough. And I feel like I pushed myself a lot and I worked a lot on my own, and everything I did going to the under 20 World Cup at 125, playing a normal game, gone back, my weight's still a problem. And I just wanted to go somewhere fresh and where the stories of it, they love the big boys in France. You can play, if you play well, you're going to play and just experiencing something different as well. Because during that time before I left, it was during the COVID. So we kept playing the same teams. We didn't play someone else. And I was like, I needed a new challenge. I needed to refresh and find my love for the game again, where my weight and my size wasn't a problem, which I never thought would be said in South Africa. So I just thought, if I looked at Will Skelton playing over here, Moafu, the Paul Willemse, I saw the big boys, Antonio, playing here, that they didn't worry about their weights. They're like lifting these guys up, like, look at these big guys, they're playing, they're dominating. I was like, this is amazing. I would like to go and play. And luckily, Stade Français saw me at the under 20s, and Laurent was looking for me, and he asked, but I still had a year left at the Sharks, and the Sharks and Stade worked something else, and I was really excited to go and experience top 14, and it's something I really wanted to do. I wanted to play in top 14. I want to play in the Prem. So it was definitely a goal of mine to come play in top 14 and play in the Prem. And I've ticked that box in top 14. So played 87 games for Stade Français, which is in 4 years is not bad. So I'm really proud about that. And yeah, I was excited to go and just experience something and show what I can do and where they respect a bigger guy like me, and not worry too much about my physical attributes that some coaches didn't like.
Ben, that
Yeah.
ties into conversations we've had on various occasions, where is there optimal weight for a certain position? Your Cheslin Colby himself, you had Census Johnson. So that ties exactly into what we've spoken about on various occasions here on this pod.
Yeah, it does, G, and I love JJ. I love your attitude towards it and seeking out an opportunity and not being scared or fearful about embracing a new opportunity and a new challenge and throwing yourself into it. And when you talk about Miafu, Paul Willems, all those guys, and having those sort of people who've broken the ice and have shown you a way of doing it, I love that. You know that when you were talking just now, and that sort of leads on to my question. I was surprised to see you leave Stade Français this summer, and you don't have to get into like why you might have wanted to or not, but I from a rugby point of view, I thought you were killing it, in Paris, and you were just going to go on, and I could really envisage you going on to play for France if that's what you wanted to do, because of what you just outlined, being appreciated. They understand a guy like you. You're starting to hit your straps. There's a place for you in the top 14. Like. What was your thinking then? Did you not want to kick on, especially if you're at like 80 odd games? Did you not think, wow, I'd love to be here, get past 100 games and all that type of thing?
Yeah. No, definitely. I wanted to stay. I had 2 years left on my contract, but obviously, just with the new coach, we didn't get along. There's something between us that I can't really talk about. So obviously, I wanted to stay there, but Northampton came with this idea of trying to help me to get into that Springbok team, to make me better as a player, and I just wanted to do something new and refresh the way I was playing and the way they're playing, just to sharpen up my skills again. I enjoy the way Northampton plays. I like to move the ball and play, and I just thought they helped Trocky a lot when he was here. And one of the things they spoke of is trying to help me to become a Springbok. And it's definitely one of my goals. And unfortunately, it was a hard decision because I wanted to stay in the top 14, but there was no other clubs available at that time, because it happened right at the end. No clubs were available to go to. And Northampton were open, and I was excited. I didn't think they were interested in someone like me in my profile, especially in the Premiership. It's not rare that someone like me is in this competition. So I was surprised, but I was also excited as like clubs were seeing what I was doing on the field and working hard. So they believed in me, and they saw something, and they needed some physicality and to help them. So I took that challenge, and I was excited. And especially my wife, she was struggling in France with the language and everything. So she was quite excited to come to England.
I love that growth mindset. G and I often talk about it. I love the growth mindset, how you see it as a way of strengthening, developing you further, and then, giving you another sort of almost skill set it's another tool that you can add to your armory. It's I've got my metaphors mixed up. Another weapon for your armory, another tool in your toolbox. But I can see you.
A long day, Ben. It's a long day,
bro. Tell me about it, man. But that's cool. I love to hear you say it like that. And I guess that's another thing. People see things, they've got one perception from the outside, but when they don't necessarily understand the family dynamics or their private relationships, do they? The personal relationships. What is you mentioned there about the Prem. I can see it makes sense for me because Northampton played in the European final against a UBB team that's, and if they'd had you that extra physicality, they're probably thinking, but what's your expectation for the Premiership itself, in terms of different playing styles and what you're going to be required to do?
I definitely think it's a bit quicker. A lot of running rugby, but a lot of people doubt the top 14 where people think it's slow. It's actually very, very quick. So I feel like Definitely like helping Northampton with the mauls, and maul setups, the lineouts, the scrums, just bringing that gain line so those amazing backs can do the things they can do. Working on my offloading, working on my passing, something I really like to do. Drawing people in, playing out the back, just drawing them in and playing out. So I feel like I can just bring that something like when Will was in the Prem, we made a massive difference. Where I can come in here as well, where they haven't seen someone like me since Will, just bringing that X factor that no one's used to, and just to help the team get on the front foot.
JJ, firstly, I want to commend you on massive respect. I can just imagine, at the young age, having that pressure, being constantly judged on your weight, that's not easy. And we do see a lot of coaches sometimes just hammering at that instead of finding different ways to motivate the player and maybe to everybody watching or listening to this podcast. At the end of the day, stop focusing on the weight. Focus on what the player is doing. And you mentioned if, yes, your weight is holding you back and stopping you from doing your job and executing your role with precision, definitely you need to make the effort. But if you're doing your job, and I've seen Will Skelton play 80, I've seen you get your minutes in top 14. And I just want to put it out there. And I'm going to go you on a passionate tangent that the game needs players like you. All right? We don't need just a bunch of ninjas. We need samurai soldiers. We need ninjas. We need sumo wrestlers. We need everybody. We different. That's what makes the game unbelievable, and especially someone like with your athletic ability, your skill level, and I think maybe JJ, and I know this is maybe something completely different. It's not that I want to give you advice here. I think you're on the verge of becoming someone really great. Okay. And you already have that mindset of belief. And I think you have this responsibility now as a young player. You're not coming through. You've made your mark. You've earned your credibility. But now Northampton's going to be a great opportunity for you, an unbelievable opportunity. And it's also great, Ben, what he mentioned, on 2 occasions, change of environment from the Sharks going to Stade Français and Stade Français in Northampton. I think that's also important for players to know that, at some stage, you need to change your environment to have change and take care of your mental health. That's very important. Ben, what's your feedback on that?
100% G. I love that. And, we spoke a couple of weeks ago, JJ, G and I spoke about, and we did a short form pod about coaching, and it was to do with Australia and the Lions, and I was thinking of Will Skelton because Will Skelton didn't play in the first test against the Lions. And I didn't know the inside details. I'm not privy to that. So I don't know if he wasn't 100% fit. But the talk was that he was almost fit. And then he made a huge impact in the second test. And my viewpoint, and you just outlined it, and G, is that we as coaches, I think the responsibility is for us to get an X factor player and work out a way of getting them in the team. This is who I have. And then I make the game plan around them, not this is my game model, this is my plan, and if this person doesn't fit in, I haven't got it, because it's so rigid and structured that they can't, and I think that's one of the things that holds back modern coaches, speaking very bluntly about it. And I love your growth mindset, and it's really exciting to see it and hear about.
Yeah, no, definitely I agree with what you guys are saying. Like I'm coaching here now by the local rugby club. Just also want to get into coaching. It doesn't matter the other guy that's so small, but he plays his heart out. It doesn't matter if he can be the next Jason Colby. It doesn't really matter about your size as a guy. He's overweight, but he's playing well. He's dominating. He's scrumming. Like I said, I don't see the shapes and sizes. If a guy's good, he's good. It shouldn't be about his size, or it's about something inside a player that does make him different. I feel like no one knows what's going on inside of my head or in my body and what I can bring. And I feel like that you can see it a lot, like you said, with Will Skelton. He made a massive difference, even now in the last test, so South Africa. And we're not a soft side. We have some big boys as well, but it does make a difference with that exercise where 3-4 guys have to tackle you and there's space on the outside. A lot of people look past that. Yeah, he's big. Yeah, we're not going to chase a ball like someone like it's a bit that can run and get up that high ball. Where he does that great, where we will do great at something else. You can have space for both of those attributes in a team. It doesn't mean everyone has to be molded around one player. And I feel like like you said, a lot of coaches believe in one thing. A lock should be this, a lock should be that, a fly off should be like this. Everyone is different and no one is the same, and that's what makes us great in every aspect as human beings.
100%.
JJ, just to all the young second rowers out there, what would you say to not just exist and perform at that level, but really to dominate at that level, in your position? What are the skills that they should be working on? All right. And we're not talking about your line out callers. We're talking about the second row, like yourself, like Will Skelton, who's physical. Your job is to win gain line and make sure you're getting over the advantage line. What skills should players be working on?
Definitely just work on your ball carries, taking into contact, leg driving, focusing on what you can do better on the ground as a big guy, ball placement, get that ball quicker. As there's going to be 3 guys, 4 guys on you on a tackle, make sure to get the ball back quicker. Work on working on your rucks as big boys to get low down and clean a ruck is important. That's our bread and butter, is going clean rucks, carrying the ball, just doing the hard stuff, making sure just grab a guy if he's grabbing your fly off. Just be that enforcer. I know a lot of people throw the word around, but just be the guy that your players can back and know, like, listen, yeah, this is our big boy. He's gonna give it as an advantage, or like everyone should know, like, oh yeah, give him the ball. He's gonna give us a go forward. Get into that mindset. Be that physical attribute as a lock. Be the big dog that you can be, and just work on your ball carries. Work on the small things that you can focus on. Don't worry about the passing. That's a small thing you can work on in your game, but work on that physicality side. Do extra ball carries. Work on getting your body out low. Working on the leg drive. I feel like as a player, as a lock, just work on that, and then once you get that, start working on your passing. Start working on the small things. Just to get your body, strengthen your body. Do your core. Work hard in the gym, and just to get stronger.
JJ, G and I often talk about, goals, setting your targets. We talk about it, and a lot of the people that have come on the podcast talk about those types of things. I'd love to hear what processes or systems you have in place. Is it, to improve those different elements of your game? Do you set yourself targets? Do you set yourself like, I want 8 carries a game, I'm going to work on 100 passes this week, or or is it like a medium term goal, or are you a big goal setter? And if so, can you talk us through maybe what you look to do and how it works for you?
Yeah, in a game I don't really set goals. I just try to focus on getting the ball as much in my hand. It's not really a goal I set for myself. Just getting into that place at training. If I know, like I remember, I watch the game. I do a lot of watching the game rather than writing goals. See where I can improve and then work on that. I don't set small goals. I do set long-term goals. So what I want to achieve in the future, like how many games. Small things, like I want to play this much, and want to maybe get in the conversation of becoming a Springbok. Like all those things, those are my big long-term goals. But focusing more on what I can do in the game, because you can set a goal and then if you don't get the goal, you overthink about it. Like you almost rush to go and get the ball and you make mistakes. Where I rather want to get into the game, do my work first, and then see how many balls I can get and focus on those things. So rather than, I know a lot of guys get overhyped on like, I need to get 8 ball carries, and they think about it too much in the game, where you should be focusing on your role, not your personal side of the game. You're playing a team sport. So I rather like to focus on doing my role first before I worry about myself. And if I do get the opportunity to carry the ball a lot, I'm happy with it. But if I don't, it's okay, because I know I did my job as stopping walls or giving my prop the best base where I can just push push him, and just the small things where I can help the team. But yeah, I don't really set small goals. Yeah.
JJ, I'd just like to move a little bit away from rugby. Is there anything that you are doing, because we do know there's a lot of pressure on rugby players, like compared to when we played, you were talking about Buckies and Victor, back in the day, you would make a mistake. There was no TikTok, there was no Instagram, didn't go viral. So I do believe there's way much more scrutiny now on rugby players than before. So are you doing anything in the week to just decompress, just to break away a little bit from the game?
Yeah, that's why I started coaching, just getting in with new people and just having a chat, because I only train two times a week. Just getting outside the house, enjoying, having fun with the boys, having a beer afterwards, after training with these guys. I get to know them. A lot of them are much older than me, but it's just a respect that is there. I have my own company that I started in France, a real estate company. So
wow,
that's something in my business I want to do and just talk about and just get out of my mind and just talk the business stuff and just spending time with my wife, taking my dogs for walks. Like today, we went to Clarkson's farm, just trying to do little things like get out of the house and just experience little small things. And I really I have a rule once I leave the stadium, I don't think about rugby anymore unless I come home and I do recovery or something. Or I'll watch a huddle video. But as soon as I finish that, it's finished. It's just me and my wife. It's family time. It's relaxing. So I try to not think about what happened on the weekend or during a training session. I set a time out to do that. So I try not to focus too much on it. Because at the Sharks and before the first year at Stade, I did focus a lot. I lost my dad and I went through a rough patch and my mental health was really bad. I wanted to stop playing rugby, and that's when I started picking up weight. So I went to see a psychologist, and that really helped me a lot, just clearing my mind. And that's when I decided, I need to have rugby. When I get to the stadium, that's my main thing. And outside rugby, that's my life. It's my family, it's my friends. So I try to split them a lot.
Wow, thanks for sharing that, JJ, and my condolences for you losing a father. I can imagine that must have been tough, and to see you that makes even everything you've achieved so much more significant. And it shows your mental strength, and you're mindful also of your mental health, which is great. And I'm so great to see that you're also starting to think outside of the box, starting your property company in France. That is brilliant. And I think that's important. I think this is a great lesson for a lot of rugby players to have that balance, because it can't just be rugby all the time. But rugby, I can see rugby is still the main thing for you, but you've managed to find that balance. And I read up somewhere, you're not just a great rugby player. It seems like you're using this brain quite efficiently. Is there anything else in the bigger picture, outside of rugby that have you started thinking about? Is there something you would like to achieve outside of rugby? And have you started thinking about, what would life look like after rugby? I know it's still early stages. You probably still got 12 years left. You still probably by age of 39, 40. So you still have a long road ahead of you.
Yeah, definitely. My business is the main thing. We're starting just to grow that. I think that's where my main thing is at the moment. In the future, and I really want to start coaching. I just want to what I've learned as a young player and what I'm going to learn just to help the younger player. I want to go, when I retire, go coach at a school. I know my big part of my career, I must say, is from school coaches, just believing in you. And that's where I want to start. It starts from a young age, where you can help those young players just to believe in them, and believe it takes you a long way, even though a lot of people won't say oh no, this guy's not good enough. But if you just push him and you help him and back him, you never know who he can turn out to be. So I definitely want to start coaching and focus on my business and just start growing and get more properties. And I feel like that's in the future for me. So far, I'm pretty sure it will change if I find something, a new endeavor I would like to dip my toes in. definitely would like to get a farm someday. So that's also one of the on the list.
It's that balance that keeps coming up, G, isn't it? It's JJ. It's really interesting. People, we speak to people, and they have this balance that and one of the lessons, we wanted to put this podcast together so that we could talk about lessons that seem to be common traits amongst a lot of successful people. And one of them is that people have this balance that is, they have, they have a perspective it's not rugby isn't everything. There's other things that exist. And they are very serious about it when they do it, and they're well intentioned, and they train with purpose, and they have extreme clarity. But at the same time, they're able to say, "Hey, hold on, it's not the be all and end all," and that's something that you've spoken about as well and reiterated as well. And like from now, then you mentioned earlier about the Springboks. And I think you mentioned it sort of. I know that you're probably not wanting to completely put it out there because you don't want to sound sort of put your neck on the line or sound arrogant or something, but obviously that's something in the back of your mind, or not too far in the back of the mind. I know it's probably you do well for Northampton, everything else takes care of itself. I know that will be the mindset, but ultimately you'd love to wear the green and gold.
Yeah, I feel like every South African kid is your dream to play for the Springboks. I've always wanted to play for the Springboks, even when I represented on the 20s. One of probably the proudest moments of my life, singing that national anthem, it's just something about it, and putting on that jersey it's unbelievable. I got the opportunity to get a jersey when we played the green and gold game, and just to be in that atmosphere is just it's something different, and one of the reasons why you just want to play the game and achieve something, just to be part of that small that group of people that just are phenomenal.
Great stuff. JJ, this has really been unbelievable. There's so much stuff. And I think one of the big things, if I just have to resume what we spoke about, which was brilliant, and Ben, you mentioned it quite a bit, belief drives behavior. If you got that, and also not listening to the critics. And I think it was Anthony Watson, a former English player, and he mentioned as well, you want to listen to the opinion of people that you trust. You're not going to listen to every Tom, Dick, and Harry, what they're saying and writing about you, as long as you're truthful to yourself. And I'm excited to see what the future holds for you, JJ, because I think you got I know you got your head screwed on right.
Yeah.
And, if you continue on this path, like Benjamin, the results will take care of itself. I think we're a bit more experienced than you. All right. So this is the first time we had a less experienced guest where we could say, you know what, keep on doing what you're doing, keeping that work ethic, that level of exigence, if we can put it that way, and that result will come. And I think you also just mentioned not being obsessed by stats, like doing your job first. Instead of like, I want 8 carries, all right? Everyone's different, but doing your job first. You do your job, right? You do what you love. You express yourself, and you give the best version of yourself for Northampton, all right? That thing will take care of itself. But I'm super excited to see the journey that you're embarking on, and definitely I'll be tuning on. I might need to borrow Ben's Premiership subscription there so I can start watching the games.
We'll come over. We'll go and visit JJ. Yeah,
I'll have to come over. I'll have to come over now because I need to come watch a game. I got some time on my hands. Ben,
so organize a bride. So
okay, that'll be lovely.
Yeah, that's good. You got me there. Ben, any quick fire questions before we sign off?
No, but I just want to say one thing though, not a quick fire necessarily, but gee, you know what? When I was sitting here and JJ was talking about your Blue Bulls era, that time with Darnie Rousseau and Bucky's and Victor and all you guys and Gary, and that was a special team and a special time, and we've spoken about it a few times, and it was lovely to see. But the point I want to JJ, we had Corne Cricker on recently, and Corne G spoke about when they were both at Pile Boys, but obviously Corne's a bit older than G. And he came over. G was training with the SA under-20s, I think it was, and Corne came over and it just to say hello to him and just say I acknowledge you. And G looked up to him so much, and it was this like windshield effect. It was this guy above him who who epitomized everything that was great, who'd come through his same school and the pathway. and shone a light for him to follow. And I know that was incredibly influential for G. And hearing you talk about looking up to these role models at the Bulls, it just reminded me of that as well. And it's so powerful. We sometimes, I think, forget the impact we can have on people in a positive way just by a small word, a small conversation. So you coaching locally is just so impressionable for local people. It's so impactful. And I just want to, well done for doing that. It's really nice to hear. And I know it's good for you as well, but it's just amazing how we can pass it on. And I think rugby does that really well. And I think UG, you're very humble, but a couple of weeks ago, you were on a stage and, you had time for the kids afterwards. And that one little conversation, that 1 minute, that one smile, that one photograph, it all helps, and it all just can change the trajectory of somebody's life. So, just hats off to both you guys. I love it when I hear stories like that.
It is great. I met Coach when I was 4 years old at Loftus. And the time,
serious? Yeah, that's what I mean.
My dad was a security guard at Loftus.
Wow.
Meeting all of the guys. Just
how good is that? Did he have hair, JJ?
No.
No, I knew the answer, but
just that small thing, like seeing your years and they making time for you. Like I said, it does make a big difference. And I feel like it's important. Like when guys say, "Oh, we have to do signings," or that is the best part. Without these people and the supporters and inspiring young kids, you won't have a job. So for me, I'm really passionate about the supporters and those people, because without them, you won't be the player you are, and it won't be your job.
Oh man, that's beautiful. That's gold. Hearing that, G, that's just beautiful.
No, but Ben, you touched on a point, and it just shows his humility. And I'll be honest with you with JJ, sometimes there are other players that we do respect. We try to get them in the pod, and sometimes the guys don't even reply. And you've replied. And what impressed me the most was is that when you spoke to me and you messaged me, it made my day when you just said, "Yes, coach, I'll be there." I'm like, you don't have to call me coach. I mean, I'm not your coach. And but that just shows a sign of respect and also humility, and that's very important. And I've watched you over the years, and you can pick up when a guy becomes a bit arrogant and stuff like that. And it's great to see that you have your feet planted on the ground. And JJ, I'll tell you this. This is probably, I think, our first episode we had with a slightly younger player, or guy who's actually active now in prison. You can correct me, Ben, if I'm wrong. But I can tell you this, the amount of lessons that you shared here is going to be invaluable for the younger players coming through in the pathways. And we definitely will be following in the new season with Northampton. But before we sign off, just to everybody that is listening or watching, just so that we can continue to grow the show, I have great guests like JJ here. Please like, follow, and subscribe. And also Ben and myself, we have launched our own school communities. These are our own private communities. So on our Instagram handles, you can just DM us with the word school or community, and we'll send you the link. And continue to follow JJ, support him, all right? Help him go crazy on the field, all right? He's not driven by going viral, but he'll definitely be destroying his position on the field. All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks for taking the time. JJ, is there any message you would like to share? Any family members or coaches, anything you would like to, before we sign off?
I'll just send love to my family back in South Africa, and I know they're definitely going to watch, so they're very excited about it. Just all the love to my family and friends in South Africa.
Thanks.
Amazing.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for taking the time, and keep well. Ciao, ciao, bye.
Do it!